And it's always a good idea to unmute the mic. So I'll say it once again. Good morning. It's a snow day here in Kansas City. So the kids are here. Who knows where this is going to go? But we're going to try to have some fun. We will try to have some fun. But before we do that, uh, if you're in here, say hi. Let us know where you're from. Let me say hi. I love you, mom and dad. And thank you. Thank you for giving me that. I appreciate it. And here we are. Java Grunt Jr. is going to be coming in and helping out here in a minute. So yeah. So welcome. Welcome. Good evening from India, Harpreet. I'm glad that you're here. I'm proud of you, Harpreet. You're doing good things. You're trending in the right direction. So let's see. Harpreet, did you ask a question about Spring Data REST versus Spring Data JPA? I feel like that was a question that was on your mind, but I might be missing. What are you working on? What are you working on? And how's it going? How is it going? That's what I want to know. I want to know how it's going. What are you working on? Is there anything that we can work on together and get unstuck? Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to show this way that the stuff that we've been doing on the stream has been pretty cool. Well, cool for me, I guess. It goes really slow, but doing things in public, doing things with others, makes it stickier. Yeah. So here, like, look at that. Look at you're here. I'm here. We have this stuff here. Watch this. So I do this stuff on Java Grunt. That's one of the domains. That's what my handle is on Twitch. That's where it came from. But here we did a YouTube service. Here we did this two ways. We did it one way. We did it with Spring Data REST. So this way, it has the HAL set up, so we can actually navigate all of the videos. So if I click on this button, oh, actually the URL, I didn't fix the URL, so that's not going to work. I have to translate that URL. So that might be a good exercise. But I want to do this. I want to go to YouTube videos, and then I see the list of all the videos. But this list has all of the links, and it tells you where. We got to fix those links. So maybe that's what we'll do here. It tells you all the videos. Hey, here's the video. If I click it, I can go to the link. It has all the information that it needs inside of it. So that's pretty cool. That's pretty slick. But that's all of the videos, and it's paged. So I can go to the next page. I can say, hey, page 0, size 20, page 0, size 20, page 1, size 20. So I have all the navigation here. Let me grab this, which is kind of nice. So now I did page 1. Let's do page 0, size 20, and we'll probably fit. Oops. Right, there's not a whole lot there. So then there's all of them. So very cool that we can do that. But parsing this on the front end wasn't as easy as I remembered. I definitely did this because going this route by doing Spring Data REST, here's what I didn't have to do. I didn't have to have a controller. So I can get this same output, and it's navigatable. So I get the links, and I can go, sorry, I'm going to use these links. I get the navigation links for next and previous, etc., which is kind of nice. That's a definite bonus that it's like I got a controller for free. Because I can also just grab by the ID, right? These IDs aren't the best. Where is here? So I can still grab one by its ID. Now remember, these are all scaled to 0. Uh-oh. So that link, oh, that link is not safe because of the colons. Is that what's happening? These are all running on my Raspberry Pis, scaled 0. So I did move all of this over to the other cluster, which was kind of a challenge last week. Why is this not working? So let's fix the oh, there it goes. It did work. So that URL is fine. But here it is. But why did it say bad gateway before? Well, let's go take a look. Let's see what we're working with. Let's hide this. Let's switch back here. Let's clear. Let's kube CTX. ARM64 is the cluster that we're working with. This has the Raspberry Pis. So let's just peek over there and see what's happening. Because we had we got some tasks that have completed, but we see the service is up and running. I'm not sure why. Oh, it says 3 restarts. But that service, it doesn't stay up. It comes up when I need it. So that's fantastic. So we still get all the benefits. But remember, this was the hard part. I couldn't parse this as easy. So what did I do? I wanted to show both of them. So I have that service. I have the Spring Data REST. I have my tests. But I added this controller. And I added the controller so I could do something slightly different. I wanted to have, and I changed the URL. I think it's API. Let me go peek. It was late. YouTube videos. So instead of just YouTube videos, I did API YouTube videos. And this should be my find all. Oh, I don't like that. Oh, it was terminating. So it had a URL. It was terminating. So maybe I need to change the window, first of all. Let's do that. So we got a couple of things here that we want to fix, right? So we saw that, hey, as it's terminating, it wasn't responding, and we don't want this ever. What did I do wrong? API YouTube videos. I should be able to get the YouTube videos. Oh, that's not deployed. So that YouTube controller isn't deployed yet. So we got a couple of things to work on. Here, let's do it this way. Let's go like this. Let's show localhost 8088 API YouTube videos. Oops. And we're just going to show localhost 8080. Say what? No static resource. API YouTube videos. Do I not have the right thing running? API YouTube videos. There we go. Here we go. So, Harpreet, what I think, N-tier architecture using Spring MVC, more manageable as respective to logic and code reside in its separate layer. What's your thought using Spring Data REST in respect to N-tier architecture? So this is kind of what I was doing. The difference here, right, let's go back here and let's show. It was like, hey, where do I want to spend my time? And I didn't have, I know I've done it in the past. I just didn't remember it off the top of my head. So here I've got YouTube videos. If I want something, it's almost self-documenting when you have the Spring Data REST. So it depends on where it's being consumed. If I was going to expose something to a third party, I might lean into Spring Data REST, right? If I wasn't in control of all of the consumers, I could lean into that because it's yeah, it's going to be easier to consume. They're going to be able to find their way. And as that data changes, it it'll be easy to see. So this is what it looks like with Spring Data REST, where I get that HAL representation. And you don't have to use Spring Data REST in order to do the Hadios hypermedia approach. You don't have to use Spring Data REST, but it does. It makes it for really nice and easy to consume, especially if you're not able to have a conversation or get documentation changes out as fast. But the alternative, Spring Data JPA, I use the same repository. So in this case, I use the same exact paging and sorting repository. I'm consuming the same repository inside of the service, but the data was easier for me to consume. So it's easy for me to translate into my front end. So that's why I went down this path. They both have, everything is a trade-off, right? One of those things, a lot of times, I always look for, yeah, here's the best way. This is the right way. It's all about for your context. Like it might be the right way for what you're doing. And that's actually a topic that has been on my mind a lot lately. It's like, let me do this. When we're developing, a lot of the fun projects and patterns and stuff that we all like use and take for granted, a lot of those were developed by people like you that were working on something, and you developed a pattern inside of your org, and you realize that, hey, this pattern is really powerful. Hello, 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 welcome to the show. We're going. It's a snow day. My son is supposed to be here with us, but hey, I get it. And we're talking about some of the decisions that we make, like between Spring Data REST and Spring Data JPA or others. But one of the things that I'm noticing a lot is there's a lot of really smart folks that are doing a lot of really cool things. And it's a big leap, but I think there's a lot of opportunity inside of you and your org and your team to find that pattern that's not the special sauce, or maybe it is a special sauce, but there's a pattern that somebody else might really get a ton of value out of. A lot of these projects, there's a lot of open source projects that were created inside of an org, and then they said, hey, you know what? This might be beneficial to somebody else. And they kind of get pulled out into the open. And a lot of times a business will be created around that pattern, that specific pattern. And that's pretty amazing. And this morning I was thinking back to some of the cool things that I've done in the past. And is there anything? There's only a couple. But yeah, there's opportunities. And what I'm trying to get to is I want you to think about some of the cool things that you're doing inside of your org. Things that you know really well. Those are a really good opportunity to like talk about and share. Like, hey, I'm doing this thing this way. What do you think? I'm doing this thing this way. Here's why. Here's how we got here. What do you think? That's a conference talk. That's a lunchroom table talk. That's something that will help you get better at what you're doing, and it might help somebody else get better at what they're doing. So think about what you're doing at work, at home, and your project. Think about what you're doing. And just for a second, just see like, hey, is this something that might help somebody else out? And if so, how do I get that out there? How do I help somebody else? That's it. Let's get back. We're showing the difference. I had a hard time consuming this easily. I don't remember the tricks. So I rolled back. And here's what we did. So we got a couple of things to fix. What was the first one? We want to get this out. We got to fix these links. So let's do that first. I think that's the most important. Whoops. Let's fix it so that these links get translated, because I don't want the internal link to show up externally. I want to get that internal link. So the real URL, that's the URL for inside of my cluster. So let's figure out how we do that. Spring Data REST. Let's go to spring.io. And let's go to Spring Data. And let's look up Spring Data REST. And let's go straight to the source. Let's go right to the good stuff. Mr. Libby, how are you doing? Let me see if I can do this real fast. Hello, hello. I want to go over here. I appreciate you dropping in. And I know that you're busy, but I really do appreciate you dropping in. And I enjoy watching your stream. I enjoy watching your stream. I enjoy watching you think out loud. And that's what we're doing. Oh, I need to mute that. Sorry. And I realize I don't have any music on this morning. But let's do this. Let's give a shout out. Shout out to Todd Libby. Todd Libby is awesome. And you should follow him on Twitch. So I'm having a good day. It's a snow day here, so we're getting started. But yeah, so far so good. We're digging in. We're looking at kind of some differences between Spring Data REST and Spring Data JPA, and that's it. We're just playing. I have no agenda. Hey, you'll be streaming today at 1 p.m. Eastern. Fantastic. I think that overlaps our spring office hours. So I apologize. I won't be there. But as soon as spring office hours is done, I'll be there. So for everybody that's watching, they got a ton of good options to stream with today, right? That co-working. Yeah, I've been watching Duct Tape DevOps a lot lately. He's doing a lot with AI, but I'm trying to get some other projects wrapped up. So I work on my projects, but I listen. I listen to Todd. I listen to Duct Tape DevOps, and as I'm working, it's always nice. I feel like I got teammates. There you go. Oh yeah, that's special. I appreciate that. We'd be lucky to have you there. So just a reminder, Spring Office Hours, springofficehours.io is happening. Here's where we are. Whoa. Spring Office Hours. You can come and catch me and Dan Vega where we're talking about spring. Hey, wait, why is the other one not show? Oh, let's go do that. Let's make sure that show is scheduled. Let's do that. And we can do that on here, right? Let's go and set up the Spring Office Hours show. Please continue to hold. Today's the 22nd. We got to get that show up there. And man, wait, where is... I think that's this one. I think what we're going to be talking about on Spring Office Hours today is Spring Data JPA versus Spring Data JDBC versus REST. So fantastic. Let's get that going. Please continue to hold while I go and schedule this other show. It's a live stream. We're doing it on the Spring Source Dev channel. That's where it's going to be. And the title, oops, Spring Data, JPA versus JDBC versus REST. And I think we have a topic. Here we go. So that'll just take a sec. That's for later today. And we're on a new time. Like we used to do it on Tuesdays. And now we're doing it on Mondays. Because Tuesday is going to be a travel day. Just like tomorrow. I think tomorrow I'm going to be traveling a little bit. Hard to say. It's hard to say. Yes, so 12 o'clock Central. 1 o'clock Eastern. 12 p.m. Central. Upload thumbnail. I gotta get a thumbnail. Please hold. We're getting there. All right, that's scheduled. That's scheduled. This would be wonderful. It would be wonderful to see you. So here we are. We got a spring office hours scheduled for later today, and now we are going to figure out. So here's what we're going to work on right now. The nice thing about Spring Data REST is it's self-documenting. So as it's documenting this, that's the internal URL that it called, and we want to replace that. So even though it called that internally, we want to replace that URL externally. So where would we go? Let's click through. Upgrading, no, no. No representations. No integration. No metadata, perhaps, right? We don't want it to be localhost. Profile link. Semantic safe, item potent, unsafe, Alps with projections. Adding custom details to your descriptions. Simple, and I know that we don't want localhost 8080. Like nobody hitting that API is going to want to, or is going to be able to reach localhost 8080. Oh, here we go. Customizing. Here we go. There, we did that. Handling. Where is the URL? Customizing the JSON output, adding custom serializers. I'm going to go back up to the top here. It's in here somewhere. We'll keep on looking. Spring Data REST applies the Evo inflector. Handling these attributes, changing rel. Close. If you see it, let me know. Time to prep for a meeting. Catch you later. Absolutely. I appreciate you stopping by. I always appreciate you stopping by. So thank you. Take care. Hiding certain repository query methods or fields. Hiding repository CRUD methods. Nope, that wasn't it. Adding required configuration. Overriding response handlers. Obtaining aggregate references. If you're not interested in entity-specific operations, but still want to build custom operations underneath, base path aware controller if you're using response cores. The thing is, I should know this off the top of my head, and I don't. So that's why I'm here, right? There's a lot of things that I've done in the past, and yeah, I know that it exists, and I know how to get there. I just need more reps. I'm trying to be like Josh. Get all the reps. Okay. So let's look. Spring Data REST URL here. Customizing HTTP endpoints. I just don't like going there because it's always old data. No, that's not. I want the base. You know what? I'll bet you there's a property that I can just go like this. I can go like Spring Data REST base path. Holler. Wait. Oh. Let's see. Base. Base path. to expose repository resources. That's just the path. I want the URL. Right. So that'll just do the context at the end of the host name. I want to replace the host name. I'm going to replace the host name in what gets returned. And I know that that's possible. I know that that's possible. But there's like a Spring Data REST proxy. That's not what I was looking for. Nope. We're going to find it. Spring Data REST Azure proxy. No. Here we go. Stack Overflow. Right? When I queried, I got a response that has backend. Yeah, we don't want that. Right here. As of Spring Boot 2.1, Spring shifts the responsibility of handling X forwarded from Spring Hadios to Spring MVC. You now require the registration of a filter bean, minimal implementation. Oh, if using Spring Hadios and Spring Boot, there seems to be a parameter for that. If the proxy adds conventional X forwarded for and X forwarded proto headers, most proxy servers do, the absolute links. Oh, so I just need to add the X forwarded proto headers. I think that makes sense. So the cool thing is I configured all that in my Spring Cloud Gateway. So let's see if we can open that up. So if you're wanting to play along, this is the fun part too. Or I think it's fun. GitHub.com. All of this stuff that we're working on today is over here in this repository at JavaGrit.com. I'll put that out there. So it's just a bunch of ways of doing the same thing, but you can play along. We've got our little web interface, a gateway, a YouTube service, a YouTube task, a cloud task. We used Pulsar, and then we got that listener for YouTube. So we can close out of this, and we can jump back over here. We have our gateway, and inside of our gateway, we have our configs. And this is how I like to make changes. I like to have all my gateway routes configurable inside of code. Now I'm doing it inside of the actual class. It would be cooler for me if I could. Yeah, you can set the server address in the application YAML. Server address, your host name, port. So that is one way. Let's take a look and see what that does. If I go to the service and I go to my application YAML, so not here. If I do your recommendation, if I say, hey, server, oh, there it is. Server, hello, address, javagrunt.com. Let's see what that does. So we're just going to turn it around and run it. DMOC, welcome. Thank you so much. I'm glad that you're here. We're playing around. We're connecting the dots. That did not work. Can't assign requested address. So it does not like that. Let's see. Yeah, I don't know that that'll work. That is definitely a property. But I don't think that will work here. But I like where your head's at, and thank you for the help. Feedback is always welcome. Like, keep things coming. This is how we learn. This is absolutely how we learn. So let's keep going. I was over here. I was looking at the gateway. And in the gateway, I have my route here. And in my route, I do a rewrite. But I think in Spring Cloud Gateway, I can do the forwarded. Spring Cloud Gateway. I can add one of those filters that says, hey, do this, forward this for. Spring Cloud Gateway, not the React. We're going to use the MVC one. And we're going to look at some of our filters. And preserve hosts header. Would that be the one? This filter sets a request attribute with the handler function inspects to determine if the original host header should be sent rather than the host header determined by the HTTP client. The following example configures a preserve host header. That might be the one that we need. That might be all that we need. Request size token relay. I think that might be the only one that we need. So here's what we're trying to do. When I call my Spring Data REST at javagrunt.com, I want the javagrunt.com host header to be filled in here for that server address. So let's see what could possibly go wrong. So here where we're doing this, I think all I need to do is rewrite the path. I don't think it'll matter on this one. It'll definitely matter on YouTube. Oh, this isn't the latest. Git pull. There we go. It will definitely matter on this YouTube service. So let's circle back. Oh, I haven't even drawn anything today. Let's say this was Friday. Oops. Save off Friday's notes. And then let's start a new one for today. So I don't really go back to my notes. It's the act of writing them down that helps me remember. So here's what we've done. I've got clusters. And inside of those clusters, let's do it this way. I'll do this way, cluster. Inside those clusters, I've got a tenant. In this case, it's JavaGrunt. And what I've done is I set up this Cloudflare D as my ingress. But it's not Kubernetes ingress. What that Cloudflare D does is from that instance, it goes out and it talks to Cloudflare. And it says, hey, I'd like to accept traffic. So it doesn't have to be in Kubernetes or anything. But it says, hey, I'm javagrunt.com. I want to get all the traffic for javagrunt.com. So wherever I put this tenant, it'll get this. Oh, and I'm glad they closed the door because it's cold. And those computers can't heat up the whole house. So here we go. And then let's go to our flux control. Maybe. Come on, Sean. Which you can also see here. And I have everything that comes in for that domain. It goes to a gateway. And I made that decision. All right, so everything that comes in goes to this Cloudflare D route. And what I want you to see is everything. So if it says javagrunt.com or it says start@javagrunt, everything is going to the gateway service. So the gateway service is how I'm going to route traffic. So what this does for me is it simplifies a couple of things. As far as certificates go, Cloudflare D is going to generate all of my certificates for one level above. So for star.javagrunt.com, I get my certificates automated because I'm using Cloudflare D, which is cool. Now, this does cost like $5 per month per tunnel, but I don't have cloud money. I have Raspberry Pi money. So this is neat. I can put this in my closet and we can operate. So all the traffic that's coming to JavaGrunt.com goes here. And then I use the gateway to route traffic inside of my service. And here's those routes. So everything is coming in through here. But then internally, that's why internally that route says, hey, here's where that service is going to be. This is the URL that we're seeing over here. Right? That's the URL that we're seeing. I need to do this. I need to preserve host header on this. And I think that will change this to javagrunt.com. What do you think? Does that sound feasible? Does it sound right? That's the only change I'm going to make. Just preserve host header. I think that's it. I know that it's the X forwarded, right? We just read that over here, right? We want to see these X forwarded and X forwarded proto headers. But I think that's what I'm doing here. Add request header filter, add request headers, circuit breaker, dedupe, fallback, load balancer. I'm looking at these other filters and I think this is the one. And if it's not, we'll just try again. Hello, hello, welcome. Welcome. We're here. We're going to develop. We are working through, we have a couple of different ways of exposing our data from a database. and I've done two. On the exact same data, I've exposed it in two different ways. One is using Spring Data REST, and one is using Spring Data JPA. Same repository, but just exposing it a little bit different, right? This one is much easier for me to consume as a developer, but this one is kind of self-documenting. It gives me some extra things, and I like it. But right now, the URLs that it's exposing are the internal URLs, and I'm trying to fix those internal URLs and show them as external. And I think that this is all that I need. Preserve host header. So let's see. Let's see what that does. All we're going to do here is get status. We're going to make sure that we're on the latest, greatest version. Because 3.2.2 came out. Look at that. I'm on the latest. 3.2.2 came out. Let's do this. One more time. Get status. Get add dot. Get commit. And what do we add? It was called the preserve. Add preserve host header to YouTube service. Get push that. Again, in my pipelines, the push doesn't do anything. All it's doing is, hey, there's a commit. So now you've got that code. If you're playing along, you can pull it down. But what we're going to do next is we're going to rerun. So I've got this, I got these things, this Spring dependencies, and I've got a Spring health assessment report. I just want to update these as I go along. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go over here to Spring Health Assessment. And actually, I think I have another URL that goes to the same place. And I'm going to find it real quick. I'm looking Spring Health Assessment. There's a URL. I got a lot of, last week was fun. Thank you guys for making last week fun. I got a lot of great feedback last week. A lot of PRs were submitted. A lot of cool stuff happened last week. Am I in the right directory? I'm in the wrong mailbox. Please hold. Document shared, Spring Health Assessment. We got somebody through upgrades. There was a chat. That had a URL. I just don't know where it went. I'm looking. But I'm not going to spend that much time looking. So here's what we're doing. We're just going to rerun this same thing. Here it is, Spring Health Assessment. We're going to go and run this. Control C. I'm going to run this on my project. And what that's going to do, it's going to run the dependency tree, only filter out the org Spring Framework and IO micrometer stuff, and put it into this Spring dependencies.txt. So I had that there. So now we can see a delta. So look at, I got a bunch of new versions, right? The diff is here, all these blue line changes. So there's quite a few changes here since last time I ran it. And with that, then I choose the file and I say, hey, I want to send this file to you. That file doesn't have any extra data. It's just got versions and it's got the order that I put them in. And that's cool. So I'm not giving away any secrets. Oops, I'm getting up one more layer. And all I'm going to do is I want to put this in the gateway. I want to put this file. I want to put this in my repository too. So when anybody comes in and looks, they can say, oh yeah, hey, here's the last time it was ran. I'm going to fill in all my stuff. Oops. Sean.carter@broadcom.com. And I'm in USA. And I'm in Missouri. And I'm cheering for the Chiefs. Chiefs won yesterday. We're still the world champs until we're beaten, right? Yeah, you got to take that title away. Until then, it's still ours. So this is going to generate a report. And this report looks good. So here's the report. I'm going to download it. Save as PDF. Yep, I'm going to put it right in my downloads directory and then I'll move it. So here's the cool thing. It's my project is still easy to upgrade. There are 3% of the libraries don't have OSS support. So let's just scroll down and look. So the cool thing is I got a glimpse as, hey, how long before this is out of support? That's good. But I just wanted to scroll down and see what's not supported. Spring Boot DevTools. That's interesting. Why is Spring Boot DevTools showing up as unsupported? Please hold. I want to go over here to spring.io/support. And I don't know if you can hear the kids, but they're definitely out there. It's a snow day. So all the kids are here. I've got a lot of them. They're all just hanging out. I don't see DevTools on this list. That's interesting. That is interesting to me. Right? Yeah. But that's okay. That's okay. Because what I'm doing is, what was this other? I got a high vulnerability status. Wait, did that show up here? Oh, that's the 3% with vulnerabilities. So I can go and I can take a look at this by hitting that. I can say, hey, oh, JSON path. And I knew about this. Okay, fairly recent information disclosure. All right, cool. We got to be careful. So this is just something, just because there's a CVE in my code doesn't mean that I'm exposed, right? If you know about the CVE, you can put stuff in place so that doesn't expose you, that doesn't hurt you. Just because there is a CVE in a library that you use doesn't mean that you're exposed if you put the proper pieces in place. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move that, move the thing that we just downloaded, the Spring Health Assessment, to here. And then I have 2 files that I've changed. I'm going to add those. And I'm going to just put those in my repository. I'm just going to do this. So now you have all that information too. Anybody that comes along, they can see that, hey, we've got a report here in this open source repository. We've got a report that kind of shows us what's going on. It would be cool to have that kind of as part of my README, or maybe have that report marked down or something. We've gotten a lot of good feedback on that, and it's just a cool tool. So the other part of why I like to use that tool is because I'm sending all of this information. I'm sending this to the Spring team. The Spring team, for all the hard work that they do, and the millions of Spring developers that they support all over the world, not a lot of people are sharing kind of like how they're using it. And not a lot of people are saying, hey, wouldn't it be cool if we did this? So this is just one way that I can give them some information on how I'm using it. And yeah, hopefully move things forward a little bit. But I definitely need to update this README because this doesn't tell the whole story. So here, we've done our changes. And now we're going to do this, git tag. We want to get a new version out. So here, the latest version is 15. I'm going to do this, git tag v0.0.16. And I'm going to push that v0.0.16. I'm going to push that up to the repository. And what that's going to do is that'll kick off these builds. That'll kick off the, there it is. So now we got a build in this building v0016. I have one more step, which isn't going to affect anything really, because that build's not done. I'm going to go over here. And I'm going to update the information for that gateway. Because even though I'm building version 16, that's not automatically going to push it out. And I don't want you to do that either. You've got to take some steps, make sure that everything's working. But what I'm going to do what I say, not what I do. I'm going to go in here and I'm going to say for this service, for gateway, I'm going to say, hey, oh, 15 wasn't even out there. I'm going to go say deploy 16. 16 is the latest version. Oh, maybe it was git pull. Oh, let's do this. I didn't have the latest version. Git pull. There we go. 15. But we're going to change it to 16. Anything else we need to change here? I don't think so. All we're saying is when there's a new version, 16, push that out. But the other thing I'm going to do over here is on our service. Remember that 60-second window that didn't seem to be long enough because I'm talking and going back and forth. Let's make this 300. So it's going to scale up. And if it's not active for 300 seconds, then it'll scale down. That should be enough time to meet our needs. So we're going to make those changes. Is there anything else? We might as well push out the service. If we push out the latest service, we'll get just the find all method. That's all that I've done. And I think I added a test. I did. I added a test. And that's it. So let's go ahead and push those changes too. Git status. While we're playing, right? It doesn't, I can make all the progress in the world on my machine, but it's not realized until it gets to production. Let's add it all. I added controller, a test, and what else? What did I do here? What did I change? I don't think I changed anything. reformatting. Is that about it? Let's do this just while we're here. Optimize the imports for everything. Done. And reformat. We're good. Sure. All right, we're all set. We've got a couple of cosmetic changes. So let's do this. Add controller. Add test. Clean up. Done. Let's check this version. Are we on the laser? Ooh! Wait, no, that's not it. We're not on the latest and greatest. So again, as we're making changes, we're going to production anyways. Let's just run Spring Cubed, which is just going to go and run our recipe, our upgrade recipe. And it doesn't do all the things that I want automatically. It does a couple of extras, and that's okay. We know what to look for, but it's still super easy to upgrade and to be on the latest and greatest. And I'm not going in and just updating this version because maybe there's other changes along the way. So I do know that this is one thing I don't want to change. I don't want to exclude GUnit. But this is the only change that ended up happening. It just changed that one polygon. Now we're on a latest series, but I don't have a Spring Health Assessment report. So let's do that real quick too. We're allowed while that one's still building. Let's go back here. I can run these all day. I can run these as much as I want. Spring Health Assessment. I can do these as much as I want. And it's just extra information. And sometimes it gets busy, and we've seen this before. Embarrassing. I'm a little embarrassed. There we go. We'll work on that. So let's get started. Let's jump in. We're going to run this. Control C. We're going to go over here in the YouTube service. We're going to run that. Boop. There it is. It's going to give me a spring dependencies.txt. Spring dependencies.txt. And then I'm going to take that file and I'm going to upload it. Not from Gateway, but from the service. Spring dependencies. That's it. Fill in all my stuff. And USA. Here we go. Missouri. Generate report. Let's get it. Let's keep it real. This one doesn't look as good as the last one. It looks like I have some stuff that's unsupported. And I might have some issues upgrading. Let's take a look and I just want to see what it says. Right? This is interesting for me to know. Context propagation is unsupported. And that might be an issue. Okay. I'm using micrometer tracing. So this is probably going to be consistent across the board. Where I'm using micrometer tracing. Why wasn't I using micrometer tracing in Springtail Gateway? Why would that be different? So here's the thing. The order that you import things is important. All right, so let's just take a look here. We have some micrometer tracing, some issues around micrometer tracing. And we already saw that that's not supported. Spring Data Commons, we already saw that. Spring Data REST Core. Spring Hadios. But I think this is the exact same one. Oh, no. Spring Plugin Core. Interesting. So there's a few here. but it's just good information. So I'm not going to do anything about it yet. I do have a question. I'm going to do this. I'm going to save it as PDF to there. Downloads. I'm just going to save it as is. I'm going to say move downloads Spring Health Assessment to here. Get status. Git add dot git commit. And now that's there. Fantastic. All my other conventions are in place. One thing is in my gateway. In my gateway, was I not using... I was. Zipkin. Oh, wait. But I don't see the... Is that the same? Here's the gateway service. And here is the YouTube service. When I bring in distributed tracing, does it just bring in tracing Bridge Brave? Like, I didn't bring in this part. So it had the Zipkin Reporter Brave, but it didn't have this piece over on the gateway. Robotech, wonderful. How are you today? I'm so glad that you're here. So glad you're here. We're working through stuff, trying to make things better. We're trying out new stuff. And here's what we're gonna do. I just noticed that the dependencies, there was a big difference. And I think it's because I didn't have micrometer tracing inside of my gateway. So I'm going to go back over here and look at my gateway. See, I have this, but I think I need this as well. I'm pretty sure I do. There's something else that I feel like I need here too. But we're going to do this for now. We're going to update this. Git status. We're going to add that tracing. And this doesn't matter, right? I'm gonna push this out. We pushed it. Git tag. I think we did 16. We're gonna git tag v0.0.17. Git push origin v0.0.17. And we're gonna go. Hopefully that's gonna go through and get to production. But that's it. Git commit. Knowing what to commit, knowing where to commit, that's an important thing. But I want conventions in place. It shouldn't be a big deal to take new things to production. That it should not be a big deal to take new things to production. So now that those are going, let's go back and update my Flux to say, hey, I don't want version 16. I want version 17. Right? It had Zipkin already set up. Our service here, let's give it a new version because right now it's running version 3. Let's go back over to YouTube service. We made some changes. Git status. Git tag. Let's do git tag v0.0.4. Git push origin v0.0.4. Pipelines are going to go. Our Flux control, we're going to switch this to 0.0.4. And everything else should be set. Git status. Git add, git commit, update versions. So those will go. So now in my cluster, we're going to see some things change. I can go down here. I think I can delete these guys, right? If I hit Control D, like they're done. Those are Spring Cloud tasks. They run every hour. And what those are doing, if you missed that stream, what those are doing is Spring Cloud task. We have it set up as every hour, like go and see if there's any new videos. That's it. it's a difference. There's a difference between a batch and a task. And in my head, like the task is just going to get reran, and it's okay if it stops in the middle. Like no big deal. It has some of those batch qualities. It just doesn't have the retry and the auditing that the batch system has. Spring Cloud Batch, but it's a nice comparison. What I was going to try to do with batch, I realized that I didn't need all the additional complexity that goes along with Spring Cloud Batch. I just got a note on my watch that the service YouTube failed. So here's a cool thing that you might not know here. Let's see. So something failed over on Circle CI. Let's see what happened. All we did was log in. I'm old here. Let's see what happened. It says it failed. This is it says, hey, one of them failed. Cannot access member of class. Should return iterable list. I did something, in that last test that I did. That's weird. Let's do, did I change? I must have changed things after I built the test. Clean test. So what I've got here is I've got a set of abstract tests that I can run via my JVM, like what I'm doing here, inner loop. But I also, I have an integration test that sets up an integration environment and will run the exact same tests after it builds a native image. So how cool is that? I'm just verifying that what I build in my native image runs exactly the way that my unit tests run. So let's go, here's the same error. I changed something in the constructor in the way that I was doing this. Let's see what it says. Could not access constructor assertion. I'm trying to figure out what I did wrong. Here's the test. This one, we're here. Oh. No, that should be fine. What? Iterable list. So we are creating the video, and then we're saying, hey, let's get that video back. Let's run it. So something that I changed. Okay, we expected to fail, but I kind of wanted to see like, hey, why? Assert that status code is 200. Did I change no, the API is the same. Could not access the charter. So, it was up here. I expected a 201, but got a 400. So this is the part that didn't work. When I tried to create a video, because it might have already been created with one of the other tests. Okay, so let's do this. I'm pretty sure that's what happened. So let's do something like this is supposed to be before all, right? No? There's after all. Do I not have a before all? There, okay. I think that's okay. Okay, spec. All right, we're good here. I think this is okay. I guess we'll see. Because the spec's not going to change. Rock and roll. What are these now? But I still want to before each. What I was going to do was before each, let me delete. I want to clean up. What's the easy way to do that? What's the easy way? I kind of see reasoning why to move task in a separate app. It will allow to make all the apps scalable to zero. Is that a valid assumption? So some of the decisions that I'm making here are so I can demonstrate, but they're not necessarily the best way of taking things to production, right? So with me, it's just me having a bunch of multiple projects might not be the best way, right? There's problems that come along. The more things that I put into that system, right? The more things I put into the system, the more opportunity there is for issues, right? If I have to do this and concern myself with networking, just networking, right? Which is plenty, right? If I've got a bunch of pieces, I've got to worry about security. I've got to worry about network latency, right? All of those things. So as I'm doing these things as microservices, not necessarily the best approach. But what it allows me, especially I'm doing like 2-hour shows, it allows me to do interesting things where I can show, like, hey, I can show one thing at a time. So to keep my head around just this service, I can do that. But going to production, now that's 5 different things that I've got to take to production. Right? There's a lot more overhead of doing that. As you can see, like I have to do multiple commits in order to get one thing done. If this was all in one artifact, something like Spring Modulith, where I could have these modular components, I could still talk about them separately, but I could be deploying one artifact to production. Yeah, that'd be nice. But one of the trade-offs is I wouldn't be able to scale to 0, right? With that Spring module, maybe I could, but I'd be scaling everything to 0 at the same time. So it's trade-offs. All these decisions are trade-offs. I am deploying on Raspberry Pis. So yeah, the keeping my resources small is important. It's more important than my high availability and yeah, some of the other things that I might take into consideration. So hopefully that makes sense. But that was a good question. So really, for here, what I'm doing on the show, like that task, I could do this 100 different ways. I'm really more trying to show different ways of using the different projects under Spring. Right, there's a ton here. And what I want to do for me and for you is I want to be able to like review some of these things. Because the thing is, the Spring team, the Spring engineering team has put so much work and they've taken things, worked with our community to build out some of these projects. And these projects are amazing. So what I would like to do and what I'd like to do for you is to understand all the things, or as many of the things as possible, under the Spring umbrella, so that we can choose the right tool when we're faced with a challenge. That's the idea. Like when should I pick Kafka over Pulsar? Right? When should I pick JPA over Spring Data REST? We're talking about that now, and we'll talk about it again later today. So that's what we're trying to do. Right? Sometimes I've got a hammer and everything looks like a nail. So I get it. So that's what we're doing. But that was a good question. Good insight. Yeah, the scale to 0 is definitely a part of what we're trying to do. Now, I want to delete everything out of there. And I know that I've ran into this. I got the sniffles still. I know that I ran into this, and actually, it might even be in here. If I do local history, where I had an example. Oh, here we go. YouTube video repository, delete all. Okay, that makes sense. So let's do this, where I've got to bring in a repository, and that's fine. Can I do it here? Yeah, I can. Private final YouTube. Do I have that? Yeah, YouTube video repository. And I need to make sure that that gets created. All right, so that'll get injected. And what I'll need to do is here. I'll have to do the same thing, right? Oops, need this. And that should work. And I'll need to do that same thing here for my native image tests. Just so that we're getting same. Public native image test. Will this work when I do my, I think it will. Let's see, we're going to find out. We're going to find out. So I've now injected a YouTube video repository into my tests. And in my before each I'm going to say YouTube video repository dot delete all. All right, let's run this and let's see what's happening. That's not the problem that I thought it was going to be, because I just ran one test. I'm not fixing the problem I thought I was solving. No parameter resolver. Test ignored. What? I wasn't solving the problem that I thought I was solving. So my question, am I okay here? I'm gonna scoot back. I'm gonna go back to my original problem. Excuse me. We're gonna do this. I think I can leave that. I just want to see if this works. We still have our spec. We're going to remove this constructor. Wait, didn't I still have my spec? Oh, no, I made this static. And we should be good. We can do this. And let's see if we get the same results. And let's see what it says test ignored. So perhaps I do need to revert. All right, let's go back to my original error. Original issue. What's the issue that we're trying to solve? Let's do this. Get rollback. So this is what failed. This won't be a test ignored. This will be a 400 instead of a 201. Hopefully. Yep. So it was a 400 instead of a 201. So something I changed. Now this is interesting. Let's do this. Not that one, not that one. Creating an entity. Application test. Oh, that one doesn't work either. Oh, so I really broke something. I really broke something. What did I do? I don't remember the changes that I made last night, so I really don't know what I've done here. So let's figure it out together. I'm not able to create. Oh, let's go. Let's see if our other tests are working. Should return the repository index. Let's take a look. Even if it's empty, I should get a repository index. Okay, that worked. I'm interested to see what's in it. So let's just do this. Response. And then here, dot extract response. And then logger.info. Yeah. Let's just see what that body looks like. Hey, how are you? You were doing some amazing stuff last night. That's awesome. I lurked. I was planning on putting my kids to bed and I never made it back, but I let your stream run. I think you did a raid somewhere because when I came in this morning, it was on a different channel. So I hope that you had fun. I love that you're streaming more. It's fun. My kids are home today, so if you're planning on streaming later, I'll grab Jeff Grunt Jr. and we'll come in and say hi. But I like your new setup. I like all of your new branding. And while I'm saying that, let's do this. Shout out to Auntie Tux, who's one of my moderators. In case you didn't know, he's one of my moderators. So you should definitely follow Super Smart, and he's, oh boy, I am, uh-oh, am I late for something? No, I'm not late for anything, but what do I have? I have something at 5:30. So we'll get that added. So I don't know if you guys hear that. You know what? I don't have any music. And my whole vibe is off. Let's fix that. So, Auntie Tux, yeah, I had to go pick up my wife. Was working on some alerts and countdowns last night, mostly JavaScript. That's awesome. So awesome. Yeah, in my ear, I get like the beeps and stuff from work. Uh, and sometimes you guys get to hear those too. So I'm going to go over here and let's put on some mood music. Can you hear that? Oh, look at that. My monster cat automatically throws into Twitch. So this is what's happening. We got some music going. I love Monster Cat. It is my jam. It's like my favorite radio station. I listen to it all the time. All right. So now we got some background music. Hopefully the audio levels are okay and you can hear a little bit of music. Didn't hear work stuff. Heard you talking about work stuff. Yeah, my work stuff is here. Like when I'm doing the streams, I got to keep up with what's going on. I still got to keep my job. I really want to keep my job. It's a tough market out there. So yeah, so every once in a while I get a beep. I'll get a notification in my ear, and sometimes that notification comes out through the stream. I don't think it did this time, but it will now. Now that I've got the music coming out, you're gonna hear all the beeps and bloops coming from work and from my coworkers. So that's always fun. So yes, the market is awful, but keep your head up. So here we are. We're doing cool stuff. And you know what else? Maybe you can help with this. It's completely off topic, but with Jeff Grunt Jr., we're setting up a bunch of these Raspberry Pis. And I burned the Raspberry Pis with Raspberry Pi Imager. But the last few times I've been doing this, the devices that I deploy, they always end up like fighting for an IP address. They all get the same IP address from DHCP, and I cannot figure out why. So I've got devices that are on my network, and I don't want to have to like reinstall them, but I got a device on my network that I can't get to because they're being given the same DHCP address. In my head, there should be an easy way to handle DHCP and just let everything go. I don't want to have to do static IP addresses, but I will. I just don't want to. So yeah. But I also put Tailscale. So like once I get the Tailscale installed, then it usually like fixes itself. But yeah, I'm just in a weird spot right now. Let's see if it's changed. Sometimes it fixes itself. It is DHCP. Those leases do expire. Let's see if we can do 10.99.1.22. Yeah, no. I have some real networking issues in this house because it says that that's the IP address, but that's not the IP address. That's not what it's getting. So I might just have to redo those computers, which doesn't take that long. It's just, bleh. Yeah. Yeah. I can't imagine there's spoofing involved. These are new builds, and it might be caching, right? It might be that I need to flush or restart, but I can't restart the network. I can't restart things because everybody's here, especially right now. So we'll come back to that. That's not something for right now. Let's do this. So this worked. We got a repository index. Let's see what happened. Wait, did I rerun it? I don't think I reran it. Let's rerun it. This time we expect to see some JSON output because we're capturing the body and throwing it into our logs. That shouldn't change the result of the test. But I've seen weirder things. Okay, so we have this. We have YouTube videos. This is good. That's at the root. I'm going to add another. I kind of want to just see just YouTube videos. Let's see what that does. Make sure. I expect this to be empty. But it could be calling out to Yugabyte. Okay, so look at this. It said, hey. Oh, yeah, it should be a 200. Exposing Java agent. Oh, that's not it. Oh, I forgot I did that. There it is. So I had a date string. I changed my data. I made this change where I was going to have and this was, I was in the middle of it. Icon, welcome, welcome. Oh wait, what did you do on Saturday? Oh, look at this. Actually replatformed off of CF to Kate's over the weekend. Hey, that's awesome. I am doing both. So I'm a big fan of Karifi. I don't know if you heard, but CF is making a renaissance or a resurgence where the Cloud Foundry customers have been picking up. So we're doing a lot of cool things. So stay tuned. Cloud Foundry is not dead yet. It's awesome. Icon, I'm glad that you're here. But I'm also glad that you got all your stuff replatformed. That's cool. That's a great, fun exercise. I thought it was going to be easy. Here we are 6 months later, and I'm still not converted everything. I started in November where I had a bunch of things running, and I just decided, hey, let's just consolidate. So I'm consolidating on K3S and Ubuntu where I can, and in Kubernetes. But on some of those clusters, I'm deploying Karifi, which is Cloud Foundry for Kate's. Good morning. We're doing stuff. Icon, welcome. I'm glad that you're here. So, I'm glad you're using Karifi. It is limited, but it's nice. Oh, Paketo hurts you. Like, that's my strength. So maybe we can share and learn from each other because I am very comfortable with Paketo and using a single K3S cluster. So here, check this out. You might appreciate this. It'll probably resonate with you. I've got a thing called Flux Control. You might remember CF management. So I've got these clusters here. And in each of these clusters, again, everything's kind of GitOps. This is ARM64 is kind of my production cluster. It's the biggest. It's got the most stuff going. It's on the faster network. So I'm using Flux to drive it. So that's just the Flux metadata. But I can choose what infrastructure, what middleware, what things I want to put on top of that cluster. In this case, I'm saying Knative serving. So the only thing that's deployed to that cluster as a platform service is Knative serving. Maybe I should have called that platform service. But then I can choose which tenants I want to deploy. And I separated these out into 2 files just for readability. But I'm using SOPs to deploy secrets. So in order to deploy a tenant, think of org in CF terms. In order to deploy a tenant, all I do is drop that tenant into that cluster. So if I wanted to deploy JavaGrunt to where it was, I would just copy those 2 files into my tenants directory, and then JavaGrunt and all of its resources, all of its stuff would be deployed into this cluster as well. So if I want to move things between clusters, all I got to do is move these files, do a git commit, and they'll show up in the other cluster. And then down in the tenant, right, this is what we're looking at. In the tenant, I've got all the stuff that's tenant specific. So, hey, where are you going to get your code from? Who has access to it? Everything's GitOps. Every tenant gets a Zipkin, a Loki, a Cloudflare D for ingress. So I can put these tenants anywhere fairly easily. The biggest problem was keeping track of secrets and managing secrets and configs across different clusters, but so far so good. So this is all available out on my GitHub in the Deshaun Dash cloud. So you can take a look there. It's fun. It's a nice little pattern that I've got. So as a platform engineer, I can say like, hey, yeah, here's what's on the menu. Oops, here's my menu. These are the things that I'm willing to support. And we can, yeah, slice and dice and move things around, much like a platform engineer. So that's that. Let's go back. We're trying to figure out why my service tests aren't working, and I figured it out. It's because I added this date string property, which doesn't exist. So for now, let's undo this change that I made. I remember doing that now, and that was one of those things that I slept on, and I was like, oh, like I wanted to be able to like sort by date, but I'll do that later. I don't have that many videos, so not a big deal. So this all should work now. That was the thing. I'm going to change the schema. I didn't even change the schema. Look at that. This should work. I figured out the problem. One of those pesky little changes. Uh-oh. It didn't work. What did we do? Links with the following relations were not documented itself. Oh, because I modified this. Okay, here we go. This one should work. Fantastic. Let's do this. I'm going to add another test. And this will be YouTube videos, and I'll need another link with rel for self. And let's run that. It's always nice to have tests. Love to hear that. I respect you and your opinions, so that's excellent. Hi, sweetie pie. Oh, hold on. Oh, I normally don't like you and your jammies when I'm streaming. Okay? It's a snow day.
I just wanted a huggy.
Okay. One more day. Go. I love you. You having fun? You okay?
Daddy, can I have one too?
Yeah. Is that what you came in here for? No. No. Did you have breakfast? Let's go have some breakfast first. Hey, Logan. Yeah? Will you get Lainey some breakfast?
She's had breakfast.
All
No, I didn't.
Get these glasses cleaned up. What? Hey, whoa, whoa, whoa! You gotta clothes on and I'm streaming, so you gotta go.
These are clothes.
But you gotta go get some more clothes on. Go get clothes on.
I have breakfast.
Yeah, you guys want to go get something? I'll wrap up here in a couple minutes and we'll go get some breakfast.
Pancakes.
Okay.
Logan.
Logan will help you. Logan, make Lola some pancakes.
No, I don't.
So today, yeah, kids are home. It's snowy, icy out here. So yeah, kids. All right, this we ran this. Wait, this says should return. Or probably no. Let's run. We want the list of videos. Let's run this and get this test going because tests are good.
Logan
I get it.
won't make
I totally get it. I will. I'm gonna wrap up here in just a minute, and I'll come out. I'll help you. I follow. Yes. All right. So how come this didn't work? Yeah, but it said it's missing a rel. It says warning here. Mismatched input cannot deserialize value. Linked hash map from array. Oh, so this is formatted different. Did I do that right? Should return repository index. Should return list of videos. Oh, not this. I only want this. That was a different endpoint. Oh, what happened here? Links with the following relations were not found. YouTube videos. Oh, here. There we go. Self profile. Is there going to be a next? So those links, I gotta document those links. All right, so there's our data. This is what it looks like. Okay, we asked for the videos. The videos were empty, and we're good. So the links that we had to describe for our documentation was self and profile. All right, we're in good shape. So this works as expected. We got rid of the extra data that caused it to break. So let's do this. Let's do runner tests. And then we'll commit those changes again. We added some tests. We got rid of a column that we didn't need. It was half baked, causing all of our tests to break. And here we go. We got a little bit more coverage. Let's do get status, get add, get commit, remove. Unused field. All right, get tag b0.0.5, get push origin. So that's how we want to get to production. Icon says, I want to move some AWS Lambdas to Docker. Show me the way. So here's, you're here, like you get it. AWS Lambda, right, is, it's the scaled zero. It's the function. It's the, like, hey, here's my account. My stuff is only going to show up when there's a call, right? Like call from the outside world for hello world. Hello world stands up. It responds, right? It responds. And then it disappears. It goes away. Hey, D-Muck, I see your question. I'll get to that in just one sec, right? The idea here is I'm doing the same thing locally. I'm running Kubernetes on top of Docker so that I can have that scale to zero. So just like the AWS Lambda, I can do that same thing. I got options. I kind of used a big one, Knative serving, but what that gives me is that same thing. So same container that you're running in AWS Lambda, you can run here. So you can see that here we've got things that are they're deployed, but they're not there, right? If I go here and I say, hey, javagrunt.com, right? It's a Lambda. It's an application. It's a full blown thing, but it's scaled to zero, just like my Lambda. So I hit javagrunt.com, it comes up, and you see now, hey, there's that gateway. There's the thing that responded. And that gateway, if we don't do it, it'll disappear, just like your Lambda. But instead of having to do that up in the cloud and paying per milliseconds, I can buy a $15 computer and I can set it in here and I can run. And maybe I have a $5 Cloudflare tunnel, or I use ngrok for free, depending on what you're trying to do. Right? You have options, but I don't want any of you to be spending money in the cloud when you don't have to be. Cloud is great, but no, not too smart for my own good. Like I'm broke, and I got a lot of kids. I got mouths. I got kids to feed. So this is what I'm trying to do. It's a cloud app. All my apps are cloud too. They just happen to be running in my closet. Like they're still cloud native. I could go run them in the cloud, but I just don't have that money, and I don't have the need for them to run in the cloud. They can run just fine on these Raspberry Pis. Like, is it worth all the money? I don't want to go like too deep on this, but is it worth all the money to have these things running in the cloud when I can deploy hundreds of apps to Raspberry Pis? My upload speed is 20 megabits. Okay, so let's talk about that. Like, how much traffic are you getting? Right? Like, look at this. I'm serving my stuff here, right? And we can even go in here to the YouTube service, YouTube videos. Let's see if that works. Oh, that's not. That is cool that it gave me the 404 back here. That is interesting. Why is this not going though? Did I break something? My upload speed is 20. I'm going to tell you a story. In my house, I had 3 T1 lines. So for years, I was hosting 20,000 domains, 20,000 different domain, like .com, .tv, .thing. I had 20,000 of them coming into my house on 3 T1s. A T1 line is 1.5 megabits. So 3 of them is 4.5 megabits is what I had coming into my house. But I had 20,000 domains. That was emails and websites and all the other stuff on 4.5 megabits. Yeah, times have changed and expectations are different. But 20 megabits is still blazing fast. So yeah, you can do this. Like, look at this. I host all my sites local. I don't ever really see issues. Like, yeah, we can do this. There's tons of options here. Yep, on 35 megabits. So you'll see that on a lot of this stuff that we're doing. First of all, I don't know why this isn't working. I did something wrong. We'll come back to that in just a sec. But yeah, upload speed. Like, how fast does it need to be? Right? Not that one, this one. When I go to javagrunt.com, what that's doing is it's coming into my network, but then from my network, it's actually calling out to GitHub pages. So I'm calling to a third-party service to send things through. So yeah, HTML is easy to host, and we can convert everything to HTML if we want. So we have options. One of the things that I see a lot of startups, especially when they've got engineers early on, a lot of startups will, and I was guilty of this too. Oh, I'm going to build all this infrastructure, and this is the way it's going to be, and it's going to scale automatically and scale fast and all this stuff. And I spent a bunch of time on this infrastructure, and the product was stuck. Like, let's get the product working. Let's get our product working. And unless you've got customers, like, it only needs to work on your laptop. And even if you do have 1 or 2 customers, or maybe you're not making any money, like, why not run it in your closet until you need 5 nines, right? Why not run it in your closet? What are you missing out on? And is it worth the trade-off? Something to think about. So here we are. I find myself in this. Oh, I have a meeting in 10 minutes. I like this new watch and I don't like this new watch. I got an Apple Watch. So for the first time in 15 years, I'm not wearing a Garmin watch. And I got this Apple Watch, and there's things about the Garmin that I miss. Like, I don't like charging my watch every couple of days. Like, that's lame. That's for the birds. But it also, this watch knows like all the things. It has all the calendar, and it's notifying me all the time. I like it and I don't like it. Does that make sense? I like it and I don't like it. So did you hear the beep? Did you guys hear the beep of like, hey, I've got a meeting that's about ready to start? Like 2 cents a month, I get it. Yep, I totally get it. But even then, for static sites, why are you paying them 2 cents a month when you can do it on GitHub Pages for free? You can literally do it on GitHub Pages for free. So, do you know how many concurrent connections a single low-speed Nginx server can handle? Tens of thousands. Absolutely. Tens of thousands. You didn't hear the meeting beep. Also, no music on Twitch? Well, that's concerning. Why would you not be hearing the music? Please hold. Let me go to my audio. Oh, because I'm not. What now? Can you hear it now? Hopefully. I messed that up. Now you can hear it. I messed up. I'm sorry about that. All right. That was a mistake. Well, I do have another meeting that I need to wrap up for. I am going to. I got a couple of minutes. Let's see if we can figure out what's happening here. Let's look at our cluster. We see our stuff is running. Let's do this. Let's do crew cuddle. Or no, let's do KN. The Knative service. This. Let's see which services are deployed. So it's got its third deployment of this, but this revision failed. The YouTube service, it doesn't have an image yet for 4. Okay, that's why. So let's go take a look and see if our changes, maybe that version's not out there. Let's go take a peek. Get a javagrunt.com. Let's go to our repository, and we think that this one should have a build in. So this one failed because of the extra message. But yeah, let's talk about that. And maybe I need to like just reset and do that as a show one day. It's like, hey, let's just get a Raspberry Pi and let's set it up and let's run it. Okay, we can do that. We can do that. We might be able to even do that later today. So cool. This should be coming. So we have our x86 build. Now we're waiting for the Circle CI one to finish. Did I have Circle CI up here somewhere? Here it is. Go to my dashboard. And oh, there, it just finished. So that means this one should finish here any second. it's in a loop. It was trying to pull things down. Oh, and there, now it's pulling. So that should wrap up here. And remember, once we do that, we have the x86 version and we have an ARM64, and then we glue them together in a manifest, and that's what we send up to GitHub. So now we're there. Now I've got a version 5 for YouTube service. Oh, I didn't update my Flux. Let's put YouTube service to version 5. I'll push that out. Did we give our gateway a new version? When I added the Zipkin tracing, I did. I pushed Zipkin tracing, so we have 17. Did I fix it over here? I did. All right. I'm going to peek at that one more time. I think I did. Get status. AnyTalks, Java Grunt. We should do some collabs about that kind of stuff. I have an extremely overpowered home lab now because of the CF overhead. Now I've got so much space for activities. Yeah, let's go. Let's go. I literally, like, I can imagine what kind of home lab you had because we come from kind of the same, from the same cloth. And I also had the racks, right? And I was just talking about my 20,000 domains. I had a room this size full of racks all around. So there wasn't a whole lot of room. It was full of racks and all the stuff. But now I've replaced all of that with Raspberry Pis. Dozens of Raspberry Pis. But now it's 2024. So the things that I was doing in 2004, I'm literally I'm able to do in 2024, way better, way cheaper, less hardware, but I can get the same scale that I was doing for, I'd like to say it's less than 1/10 of the cost, but it's even less than that. It's like 5% of the cost. So one of the other things, before I wrap up here, is this is the fun thing. For each of these clusters, here's a cluster. Let's just do this and we'll wrap up. So I got some things to work on. Thank you. But let's just wrap it up here. This is it's Legos. These are Raspberry Pi 5s with 8 gigs of RAM. And Java Grunt Jr. made this so that we can still see all the lights. We can still see, and we got ventilation, so we can put a fan on there if we want. But we got a network switch. This is a Ubiquiti Mini Flex, so plenty enough to handle the type of traffic that's happening here. I've got a USB Anchor USB power that'll power everything. So the only thing that's going to come into this cluster, this setup, think of it like a rack. I'm going to have one network coming in, a network connection coming in, and I'm going to have power coming in. But this power is going to be plugged into one of these Sonoff. So this is something that this whole panel, so these 4 computers, the switch, and the USB adapter will all be powered by this. And what I'll be able to do is I'll be able to show you real-time power on each of these clusters. So this can spit out. The other thing it gives me is, because it's a smart switch, I can, from the stream, I can say like, power off that whole box, and then power it back on, because I got a smart switch. So we'll be doing some interesting things. I was doing the same thing with my Cloud Foundry environment. I had the same setups where I had 2 foundations. I had one that was on NUCs, and I had one that was on Dell R710s or R720s, something like that. That was the Dell, the bigger, older machines were operating at 1.5 kilowatt hours at idle compared to the NUCs. And I was doing these interesting things, but having that real-time power sampling, MQTT just distributing like, here's how much power you're using. It's just cool real-time data. And I also like real-time data. So we'll be doing some interesting things. AnyTalks, I'm glad that you're here. But look at this, you just decommissioned the Threadripper. Oh boy, I get it. I am, yeah, like, let's do it. Let's do some fun stuff. Let's talk about stuff. But let's definitely collab. I'll be looking for you. You know what though? I'm gonna send you a message here shortly. But I'm gonna jump. I'm gonna get ready for another call. It was wonderful to see you all. I'm so happy that you're here. Let's keep it going. I'll be here at the same time tomorrow, and yeah, we'll pick it up from there. So enjoy the rest of your day. I might stream it a little bit later, but I got some other streams I want to catch up on. So thank you so much. It was a pleasure, and yeah, hopefully we learned something. Yeah, I will. I'm going to hit you up directly shortly. Thank you. All right, take care.